Friends, in this session, we will cover latest technologies in IC engines. This session gives you an outline of various technologies used in automobile engines. Before going to the latest technologies, let us see the next major milestone in automobile field, which is nothing but BS6 or Euro 6 emission norms. Let us have a glance on how it is impacting diesel and gasoline engines. For diesel, it is mainly the emissions. We know, compared to gasoline, diesel engines run very lean and with higher compression ratio, making a perfect recipe for the NOx emissions. Catalyst main job in diesel engine is the oxidation of HC and CO as it uses two-way catalyst. For conversion of NOx, separate mechanism is required, and these are LNT, lean NOx trap, or SCR, selective catalytic reduction. These after treatment devices may add to the cost of the vehicle. For gasoline, CO2 number will be a major challenge when the CAFE norms comes into picture. And it may add cost if the strategy from government is to pay extra fine for excess CO2 values. CO2 gives a direct correlation to fuel economy as this is the direct product from fuel burned. Emissions are not alarming for gasoline as it uses three-way catalyst which take care of both oxidation and reduction. The precious metal which assist in conversion of pollutants are platinum, palladium, and rhodium. With this, we bring our main focus to the topic, latest technologies. So let us start with gasoline direct injection. As we are aware, CO2 norms are coming in picture to check on the global warming, and the CO2 number is a direct measure on fuel economy. Now, how GDI engines help us to improve performance and fuel economy? There is a loss known as wall film losses. In previous engines employed with multi-port injections, we had so much of fuel getting stuck at the walls of manifold or the runners or at the combustion chamber walls. So these are getting stuck to the walls without properly involving in combustion. Thereby, we are losing this fuel. So when we are injecting gasoline directly into the combustion chamber, the wall film losses such as fuel getting stuck at the manifold or the runner walls are getting eliminated. Now, how the performance improvement is happening? As we said, as the fuel is getting directly injected into the combustion chamber with slightly higher pressure, we have this atomization and vaporization happening inside the combustion chamber, thereby reducing slightly the temperature inside the combustion chamber. So this helps us to improve on the spark timing, advancing the spark, thereby improving on the performance. Now, why it cannot employ higher compression ratio? As you are aware, even though it is a GDI system, it is employing the gasoline, where we are always limited because of the knocking. So knocking prevents an IC engine employing the gasoline to go into a higher compression ratio. So those who are beginners, knocking is a process of abnormal combustion. The charge which are not burned get compressed near to the combustion chamber walls, and this compressed charge upon compression increases the temperature and attains the self-ignition temperature, and thereby catching fire without being the flame propagates into the charge. So this process brings a vibration and it can even kill the piston by the increased temperatures. So this has to be avoided. This is avoided by using a lesser compression ratio than what we employ in diesel. Why it still employs a spark plug? Even though it is using a direct injection and the compression ratio is very low, it cannot attain the self-ignition temperature. So for this, we always have to use a spark plug. Now, what is the fuel pressure difference coming into picture? When we say multi-port injection, MPFI systems, we will always have the fuel pressure somewhere playing in between some 3 to 7 bar. But in GDI systems, this fuel pressure from the feed pump to the main high pressure pump will be around 4 to 7 8 bar, but once a high pressure pumps comes into picture, this pressure can vary from maybe 50 to 400 bar. And because of this higher pressure only, we are able to make a proper homogeneous mixture inside the combustion chamber. But these are very less compared to the diesel engines. Diesel engines pressure may be operated at around 2000 bar. Now, as the gasoline direct injection is coming into picture, there is a checkpoint in the pollutant that is nothing but particulate number. Similar to diesel, we have particulate mass. Here in gasoline system, we have particulate number. So the next technology we are talking about is integrated exhaust manifold. What is integrated exhaust manifold? Generally, in all engines, we will see a exhaust manifold branching out from the cylinder head, which will be collecting the exhaust gases from each cylinder, and it will be having a junction, and after this junction, it will be connected to the catalyst. Now, in an integrated exhaust manifold, we will not see this branching out of exhaust after the cylinder head. That runners will be integrated into the cylinder head, where it will have a coolant which will be circulated surrounding this exhaust manifold. So this is known as integrated exhaust manifold. Now, what is the importance of integrated exhaust manifold? In gasoline engines, we have always the exhaust gas temperature higher than compared to diesel. Why this is? Because we are running gasoline engines with lesser compression ratio, and as we are aware, the compression ratio is a reflection of expansion ratio. Now, in gasoline engines, we don't get that expansion as higher as compared to diesel. Because of this lesser expansion of the burned fuel and air, we don't get the exhaust gas temperature lowered as compared to diesel engines. So the output exhaust gas will have a higher temperature than compared to diesel. Now, to control this, the gasoline engines will have a strategy of enriching the mixture to reduce this exhaust gas temperature. So the excess fuel will be absorbing this temperature at the combustion chamber, thereby reducing the exhaust gas. Now, when this enrichment is introduced, it is a direct penalty on our fuel economy. Coming into the CO2 norms, it will have a major impact in gasoline engines. So the coolant which is getting circulated surrounding the integrated exhaust manifold helps us to reduce this temperature, and thereby we can reduce the enrichment whatever is happening in the gasoline engines. With this, we can improve on the fuel economy, thereby reducing the CO2 numbers. The next technology we are talking about is variable cam actuation. This is commonly used in most of the gasoline engines as of now, and will be in either of the form. So why did I use variable cam actuation? As I said, this can be in variable form. These forms are VCP, variable cam phasing, VVT, variable valve timing, and VVL, variable valve lift. Generally, VCP and VVT are used interchangeably. Now, we'll go into detail what all are these represented. So before going, we'll just explain on the valve timing diagram. This is aware to most of you. So we will have the exhaust valve opening and closing at the exhaust stroke, and the closing of the exhaust valve will be happening at the suction stroke. And we will have the intake valve opening getting started at end of exhaust stroke, and this creates a valve overlap area as indicated here. Now, what happens in variable cam phasing? In variable cam phasing, the duration and the lift of the valve remains the same, but we will have a change in both opening or closing angle of the valves. So this is a schematic representation. Here we will have a phase shift for the exhaust valve as well as intake valve. Generally, the shift for exhaust valve will be in the retarded direction as indicated by this orange curve, and we will have the intake valve which will be used in the advanced direction as indicated by the blue curve. And the main usefulness of this one will be on improving the volumetric efficiency. So also this introduce a internal EGR mixing, which is brought in by change of this valve overlap. So this, going into detail, this will have increased manifold pressure, thereby reducing the pumping losses and improving the performance as well as the fuel economy. Now, the next technology is VVT, variable valve timing. Here we will have same lift for the valves, but we will have the duration of the valve timing different. So here we will have both opening and closing direction different, but compared to variable cam phasing, where the duration of the opening was fixed, here the duration of the opening will be varied. It can be varied. That is variable valve timing. And the next and most important is variable valve lift. Here it uses linkages or pneumatic systems to introduce variable valve lift. Thereby it will have a change in the duration of valve opening also, and this can have a major impact by eliminating the throttle body, by controlling the intake air, by reducing the variable valve lift. So these three technologies on valve actuation helps us to improve on volumetric efficiency, reduce the friction, thereby helping us for a better performance and fuel economy. The next technology is variable oil pump. We have both switch type and continuous variable oil pump. Nowadays, mostly it is continuously variable oil pump which is employed in IC engines. So how it is getting controlled? So immediately after the pump, apart from the normal pressure relief valve, we will have a solenoid valve which will be controlled by the EMS system with a feedback coming from a oil pressure sensor, and this solenoid will be controlled electrically to leak out the oil, excess oil, and thereby maintaining the pressure which is requested by the EMS. So this will be working based on a feedback system between the solenoid valve and the oil pressure sensor. Next is the developments in alternator. We have recent development as Lin type and clutch type alternator. In Lin type, it employs a circuit which transmits the state of battery charge, and with the help of EMS ECU, it enables control system for charging. It keeps the battery charge at nominal condition by supplying required power to the accessories. In clutch type alternator, it tries to improve the life of alternator and feed system by eliminating the rotation irregularities. The alternator is exposed to dynamic conditions during sudden acceleration, deceleration, and during start stop. During all these dynamic conditions, the clutch helps it to run smoothly and increase the life of the system. Hope this video was helpful to you. We will come back with more technologies which are relevant to the current scenario. If you like the video, please like and subscribe and give your suggestion in comment box. Thanks.